to Templars Talks number 22 this time, and we're ready to discuss what all we've been doing. I'm excited. I've been to a show, and I have a little special for the listeners that I created there.
Exciting!
Have you been to any shows?
Of course.
Okay, maybe you should go first, because then we can do the other one in one
long breath.
go. Yeah, without jumping back and forth.
Well, so somewhere in the beginning of the year, I said I didn't saw a lot of power metal. Somehow this year, it's kind of changed a tiny little bit. I think my opinion about power metal is a little bit still the same. But I went to see 3 bands, Dominum, Ordin Oday, and Feuerswanz. And Feuerswanz I saw in the summer. Ordin Oday I saw before, also the summer. And the supporting act, Dominum, I never saw them. And I came in a little bit late, but right on time. Because I had double the time in traffic. It was a good day to go see a band.
Oh dear, yeah.
So there was not much time to catch my breath, take my camera out of my bag and run through, the audience and the stage. There was a photo pit, but I was not allowed in the photo pit, and the photo pit was very, very large because Feuerswanz had a lot of pyro with them. So that was a little sad. But nonetheless, Dominum is one of those power bands that use gimmick or a fantasy or a story line. And they are the zombies! We haven't had them. And they bring the zombie apocalypse to the stage. Yeah.
Another team, another power metal band.
Yes, you have those this TV show about zombies. What was it called?
Oh, that's not something you should ask.
Well, think of that on stage, and you have Dominum, I think. But actually, they sounded quite good for a gimmicky power metal band. The singer has a very good voice, which surprised me. And the audience, I never heard of this band, but the audience clearly did. Because they sang along all the songs around me. I had a little moment there like, okay, did I slept on a rock again? Because sometimes I do. But yeah, I think they did a great job. It was good. And after the gig, the first 2 bands came to the signing or to the merch stand to sign. And there was a long row or queue waiting for Dominum to sign their stuff and take pictures. So I think they have a nice.
Yeah.
I think they're also maybe a
That's
nice summer festival band. It's not my cup of tea, but you know.
Yeah, I can think they sound very entertaining. I'm kind of thinking whether I actually saw them somewhere, but I can't recall exactly if I did.
Yeah, well, it's not. We talked about this before, that sometimes it's more about the gimmick than the music, and I think with this band it's both actually. I never saw that.
Yeah, that's good.
Before, but I think it's both. The music is actually quite good. If you're a power metal fan, I think. Then we had Ordin Ogan. We saw them at Into the Grave, I think, last summer.
I saw them quite sometimes, I think. A couple times at Into the Grave, couple times at Tuska, maybe. Couple times, at least.
Well, I quite like them.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, me too. I really do.
Their songs, well, it's, I want to say their songs are catchy, but that's the power metal thing. I think their songs are always catchy in a way.
Yeah.
And they played a good set. They were entertaining. They were fun. Sounded great. The lights, at some point, they turned into little green goblins, but they had some sort of green front light. I'm not a big fan of that. Of course, I'm a photographer, so
Goblins.
I experienced that a little bit different, but still, I think when I was in the audience, I don't know if I like green goblins on the stage as well. But
It's part of the team, but
but they were entertaining. They were good, and at some point they tried to let the audience sing along with the lyrics, and there were like 3 words, and the audience just, I don't know. Maybe it's the Dutch people that can't do it, but he said, okay, maybe if he turns, oh, wait, try beer. And then the whole audience went, beer! And then he said, okay, maybe we should try the word, and beer. And there was silent, loud. And he said, okay, you know what? Just make it beer, beer.
I remember a band that had a song like that.
Yeah.
But that was not power metal, though.
No. But it was so...
Beer.
Yeah, beer. It was so funny. I don't know if it's the Dutch audience there's not willing to sing along or something, but it was kind of funny that he was like, okay, just try beer. Oh, you can do the beer. But I think they warmed up the audience pretty well. They had a good show. I quite enjoyed it. And then we had Feuerswanz.
They're quite something.
And we're gonna see them next festival season again. They had the pyros with them. So yeah, the whole theatrical show, we got to see that. They're an entertaining band. And then...
Yeah, I think they always have quite some show,
Yeah.
you know? It's like a lot. It's always a lot. It's like Rammstein, but then different. Sort of. Yeah.
But the music is...
It's funny because...
it's one of those funny festival bands, I think. And or just...
Yeah.
You know, you go see a band to have a good time, to drink a beer, to shout a little bit, to see if fireworks up in the air and have a good time with your friends. I think it's
Yeah, I think if they play in the east of the country where I live, then if I see their show being announced, it's pretty much always sold out. So yeah, I think that says enough. Like, people really like this entertaining kind of stuff. I thought at some point, maybe when I first heard of this band, that it was a Rammstein cover band, but they're not.
No, there is another band that is a cover band, and I think sometimes people mix those 2 names.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I know every time that I see them on the bill somewhere, that's very soon says sold out.
Yeah, well, they
at least they're popular.
I think they have a quite good production. You know, they thought out everything. The sound is good. The light show is good. The pyros are great. It all fits together. It you know, it's a well thought show, but it leaves a bit spontaneousness is not to be seen. I think if you saw them a couple of times, you've seen them.
Yeah.
To me,
probably.
then.
Yeah, well.
But that was my evening. It was a great power metal evening. Like I said, I seem to enjoy myself these days when going to these evenings. Not having the most terrific time of my life, but I quite enjoyed it. They won't go in my top 5, but
yeah. that top 5 is for next episode. Don't spoil us.
Okay. Zip. So, well,
Zip.
you went to see some bands as well?
Yes, I went to a town called Uden. They have a venue called The Pearl, which has been around forever. I think it's the second oldest venue, if I remember correctly. Like, super old. Although it's pretty modernized. But the building exists for quite some years, I guess. And the thing is, I've been there a couple times, I think, but long time ago. And so I knew I had to go to this place. The experience of that town starts when you drive in, and there's like a lot of youngsters on electric bikes harassing your car, like going zigzagging around you with their stupid bikes and stuff. And you're already like, oh gosh, this town is terrific, you know. All right, people. So parking in there, and I was a bit on the early side because, the first band of the evening playing was the one I was also going to interview, and you will be hearing some of that after my story about the show. And let's talk a bit about them. They are called Genus Ordinis Dei, and I had them in my interview series last year for the Christmas. We talked a little bit about their album, The Beginning, which is actually their 4th album. Just for
Not so much beginning.
No, actually the first album was called The Middle.
Kind of funny.
Yeah. So they were like writing me about a month ago or so, or even longer, and they were like, oh hey, we're going on tour, do you want to come and do another interview and write about the show, anything that you're interested in, let me know. Okay, so I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, they were fun. People were really appreciative of the interview. I saw a lot of people in the Instagram commenting on it.
Oh, that's nice.
Back then. Yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I liked their album as well, so why not? And they had a single out, and usually when there's only a single out, I'm not too keen on doing an whole interview, because I like them interviews to be a bit longer, and when you have only one song out and you already did an interview recently, then it's hard to have anything relevant to ask, you know. So we did talk a bit about the future and such, and of course the single that they did. They did 2 by now, so you will hear a little bit more about that later. But the show, I mean, I think it was quite what I expected for them to be. They have a symphonic death sound, but very modern. I would say a bit more melodic, also melodic death kind of vibes into it as well. So people know a little bit what reference to take. And then some songs I would say, oh, that sounds a bit like Gojira, and then other songs are more, I don't know, more their own thing. I kind of like the way that they can easily blend their songs from one to the other and still having one good line into it. You notice that you're changing from vibe, but it's still very much them.
Cool.
And there's not a whole lot of bands who can maintain that their own face, so to say. So I kind of like that. And I think that was very clear to see also in the live shows. They were playing together with Sirenia and Xandria. Of course, a little bit different in the way that these female-fronted bands, I don't like to mention it as such, but they're kind of a genre on its own. They, at least in the Netherlands, they have a very solid fan base, which is a lot coming out to every single female-fronted band, so to say. So they are, they're not having a female on front, so they kind of are a bit of an outsider today. A lot of people did came for the first band, I must say that. Like, was it 5 minutes before I was looking around and the venue was half filled, but as soon as these people entered the stage, I looked behind me and it was full.
Wow, nice.
So I don't know where all these people came from, but they arrived like right on time. So yeah, and they had a couple songs of their older albums, the singles, of course. And I think interesting for the fans and maybe also, for people who follow the genre a little bit in general, they had a cover of Manowar. And for the people who don't know, Manowar just did their first show since ever or so in New York.
Yeah.
Like, yes, was it 2 or 3 days ago maybe? Since our recording day. So, yeah. It was kind of interesting for me. I mean, I knew that show was going on in New York, so I was like, oh, okay. People still go for that. It was cool because you could see a couple of the older people really enjoy seeing something they recognized from this band. So I think that certainly helped for them gaining the audience on their side. Then we had Sirenia, and for Sirenia, I mean, that's, we already said symphonic gothic, kind of metal, mainly I mean, of course, the band derives from Tristania in a way, and they've been doing quite some releases through the years, so there's so much to choose from when it comes to Sirenia, and personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of music, so to say. I think we've talked about that before. But what I do appreciate about them is they have this very professional way of bringing their music. They're not going into too crazy things. They don't exploit the genre as some other bands do with the looks and such. They don't go too crazy with that, but keep it normal. That's what I appreciate about them. I think their last album was from 2023, so already some time ago. But so that helps for the fans to recognize the songs. But the fans were kind of tame, like they were just standing there,
maybe watching and
hardly
observing.
any response. It was a bit like, interesting, so to say. I mean, in the past, I've seen wilder audiences for this kind of music, but I think also, if I remember seeing Therion earlier this year, there were also very calm response from the audience, like very tame. And it feels like a lot of these people are like a lot older now, male-dominated audience, so to say, a bit older, who enjoys this kind of music. They're just taking it easy, having a beer, and just look, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. I appreciate anyone doing their own thing at the show and enjoying it in their own way. But for the vibe, it's not super boosting or something if everybody's just standing there, so to say. But I think they did a good show. Nothing special to me, so to say. But I liked it better than I would have expected.
Oh, that's always nice.
Yeah, and same counts a bit for Xandria. I think they had an EP out recently, Universal Tales, if I remember the name correctly. And they had quite a show to perform. They have a lot of different light settings. That they had this laser thing going on there. That I was like, okay, this is certainly interesting. They do add a little thing to the show that the others didn't have there. Kind of liked it that they did that. Made really nice effect for the show. Yeah, they had some of their favorite, crowd favorite songs, so to say. The audience responded quite well to that, but also very tame. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think it was also funny. This was the last day of the tour, and you know that there's always stuff going on, right? If it's the end of the tour days.
Funny stuff, usually.
So all the jokes. People coming onto the stage, like at every band, someone came or did something. So people can read that in my review on the website.
Nice.
How about that? But yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I think it was a good show. Xandria is also not a band I would necessarily run for myself. But I think they also surprised me in their way of performing and how they brought it. I think I can see that they've been growing a lot in the last couple of years since I've seen them last. So yeah, I think people really enjoyed seeing that, even in their most modest way. Interesting enough. How do you know if it's a really male-dominated audience? Well, if you attempt to go to the toilet after the show and the large queue is not for the female toilet.
Yeah.
I was like, this is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
But yeah, that was the show. Yeah, now I can share a little bit about the interview that I was having with them. As I said, I was talking a little bit about the singles that they were doing. We were talking a little bit about what's coming up next for them, and they give a little bit about that. And yeah, how about you people just go and listen to it now? Talking a bit about what happened since the last release, as I interviewed you also for our Christmas series last year.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So now you have a couple singles out. What happened since that?
We did a new single with Amber, featuring Amber from Xandria. It was really a pleasure, really great experience. I met her on Instagram, and we had a very quick chatting, and she is our fan, and yeah, I asked her if want to join us for a single, and because in the same time we were discussing and texting about the possibility to join together a tour in Europe. And here we are. You know, we did a single, Eternal Cycle, via Eclipse Records, and a tour as well in Europe. Yeah, it was special, so special.
Yeah, and now I get to meet you. Last year we were like, maybe in Netherlands someday, and now we are here.
So the time has come. Yeah.
Time has come, indeed. Before you had another single, can you tell me a little bit about that one? Like,
you mean Three Kings?
Yeah, Three Kings.
Three Kings, good. Yeah, it was like a bridge between the last album, The Beginning, and Eternal Cycle, and of course the bridge that to the new album for the next year. We are working out a very special new album, concept album. And yeah, Three Kings, it's I think it's a very strong and magical song made by Tommy, our producer and a guitar player, of course. And yeah, the song speaks about us, about our story, the new story, and the changings. I mean, we did a lot of work during these years to, and Three Kings is like a mix of all the things that we made to grow up. Of course, in not literally, but like metaphor. Yeah, and it was more symphonic, strong death metal. Eternal Cycle is a little bit more melodic because of course we did together with Arm, so we need to figure out everything, our sound and her sound. And I'm really proud of Three Kings. Really, yeah.
It has a really nice video.
Yeah. We did a very great video with our contacts, And yeah, we love to make the video visual and to represent our music, our sound also on the video. We did the first metal music series, Glare of Deliverance. We did 10 videos for 10 songs, big concept, super original, I mean. Yeah, it's very important for us to figure out and to push also the video with a great visual and mixing with the music.
Yeah. I think it's really nice, and you guys have a really cinematic way of approaching the
Yeah,
videos,
exactly.
not just a band playing in an empty building.
Exactly, because we'd like to tell stories, yeah. Not just playing. I mean, we are musicians, of course, but we are also more than a musician. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess nowadays you need to be more multimedia anyway.
Yeah.
All right, you spoke already a little bit about the future album you're working on. Can you tell me a little bit about that more?
I can say something to you, Sabine. Of course, we are working hard to the new album, a new concept album, a new story. We got a big victory as well. I can't to say more than this, and it will be it will be a dark story. It will be more, obscure and dark stories, dark music. We are also figure out which the best way, the best path to distribute this new album, to promotion, for the promotion, touring and stuff like that. Yeah, but we already finished, I guess. Miss just little things. We also working on the concept, visual concept, art concept. Also, we in the same time we try to update and evolve our set live set for this new concept album. Yeah, new show, a new vision. Of course, in the sound, but also on stage.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Did we get to see a little bit about it tonight, or?
Yeah, no.
No. Damn.
Yeah. We need time to figure out everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but tonight will be fucking great. You know, the last gig of the tour, it was a really great tour with a lot of good vibes, deep and great relationship with all the other guys of the band, with Xandria, Sirenia. Everything was really perfect. I have to add to say thank you to Amber, to John Smith, our tour manager, to the guy of the band, because it's not easy to reach and to find good and deep relationship in the tour when you are supporting the band. And it was magical. It is magical.
Well, that's very nice to hear.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your new release. That's planned for when?
I guess the album will come out at the end of the 2025, but we are gonna release a few singles before, so maybe spring.
Okay.
We will see.
And for your whole album, I'll have you for my Christmas series again next year.
Exactly.
Make this a hat trick every year around Christmas.
Wow, yeah. We usually drop an album in December. I don't know why. Coincidence maybe, I don't know.
All right. Well, I've no further questions.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabine.
All right.
It was a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the night with us.
Yeah, I think those were some really nice words of them, and I would, really like to thank Nicola for taking the time to talk with me and their invitation to the show. It was a really nice show. As you guys can hear, I actually liked them the best from the whole, because that's just my personal favorite kind of genre more
than the other two.
Two. So yeah, but I had a great night seeing all of them. It was a good show. Yeah, I was happy to be out of that town afterwards. Gosh, these people there in the town.
Funny.
yeah, wouldn't say that Uden is the most safest place for
Very inviting.
a lone woman to be there. But that's that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now we're done. We don't have an album for
Nope.
this month.
Too busy.
Next one. Busy. I've been so busy with recording all these interviews, and at the time people are listening, the first couple are already online. I think I'm amazed with the response. People seem to really like the King Satan, for example. Yeah, and I like them. I mean, for me, it was a bit of a joy to have them, and I'm glad that they wanted to talk with me for this project, especially because they're obviously not very Christmas-minded band. So yeah, I've seen King Satan quite some times through the years. Every time I come to Finland, and they're booked at the electronic products events. They were booked in the Duska. I would see them here and there. Always an interesting show. Then last year I've seen them with Goth Minister on the roads. They were in the Netherlands. And they will come again to the Netherlands with Torbjörn Keitilot. So in the Netherlands they will be playing in Tilburg, but they also have some other European tour dates. Just Google it and you will find. I would recommend their Crazy Industrial Madness is interesting to watch, and it's
I think
probably a bit different from what you've seen before from other bands.
But I think it's still funny because I think they toured with Nightwish 2 years ago, or with Nightwish.
I don't know if they did.
Torbjörn
I don't think they
was
Torbjörn Keitilot. Oh yeah, Torbjörn Keitilot did. Yeah, but who cares about them? I mean,
but I'm curious how much people they will attract on their own.
Oh, they played also in Utrecht in the Helling, I think. And I've seen the pictures, and it was a bit like half filled.
Not so much
back then. And they play in Tilburg, but I have to say,
teeny tiny,
013 booked them, but they're not playing in 013. They play on a different place, so it's smaller. I've been there before, so we'll see. It's I think 19th of January or so. I might end up being there, 17 or 19,
something like that. Yeah,
I might end up being there. I might end up being there at some other gig in another country. Who knows? But we'll see about that. I liked the interview. It was a good story, talking about the album and his perspectives on it. So I can recommend that to people. I think also very popular was We Are the Catalyst, but they are kind of an internet band. They grew themselves out of socials, get an insane response. They're doing singles all the time, like every 2 or 3 weeks they said, and they do videos for it, and then the album is basically a combination of
songs.
What they've done before. I have another band coming up later in the series that kind of has the same thing going on, and they got huge with that. I mean,
kind of funny.
That's a band that has more something like 213,000 subscribers on their YouTube or something. So that's quite something, I would say. Even some other big names don't even have that amount of subscribers.
Yeah, it's
good for them.
kind of funny because, of course, we're at the end of the year and there's the Spotify Wrapped thing going on. Everybody or Apple Music or all those other streaming platforms has these, I listen to this and these are my top bands and these are my top 5s. And then you get those people that say, you should not share it and you should not listen to your music on platforms. You should buy merch and you buy CDs. But I think I understand from a band perspective that they don't earn as much from these streaming platforms, except the boss of the streaming platform. probably. But on the other hand, there's also, compared to many years ago, there's social media. And it's kind of funny that some bands seem to really be able to use social media and everything that you can do with it to get from nowhere to a huge following and you know, they find a way to monetize that. So I think, yes, it's those streaming platforms aren't really helping, but at the same time, there's social media where you can grow as a band, like from one day to the next. It's you know,
Yeah.
I always get a little about these comments that I think,
it's really like I also spoke with one quite a big name that comes up later on his solo project, and we talked very briefly a bit about the music industry as a whole, and you can really see that there's an old generation who doesn't catch up so fast with what's going on. And I think also it was interesting. I mean, I was in the Inferno Music Conference earlier this year, and then we had this whole conversation about taking your music to the socials and how you're not just a musician, but also an influencer and whatever, and how much money you can make with that and such. So, yeah, I think that it proves more than ever that this is a thing. And I think also I suggested the band to a friend of mine who was booking shows for his festival because I thought it would be a good fit. And he was like, oh, they only have this amount of listeners on Spotify. Yeah, this band is not really actively promoting himself on Spotify, actually. So I was like, yeah, they kind of don't push that, you know? And they were like, oh, yeah, but what am I gonna... I can only offer them, like, the starting slot for a very low amount of money, which they're not going to be able to travel from another country for. So that's not going to work, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, they also tour in the US with a very major name, and I know they have quite a following now. But like at that point, their Spotify was like
lacking
not
numbers,
utilized to their max.
And it's something that people look at.
And then they don't. Yeah, and I mean, you can agree with it or not, but like this is the way people think, and you can. How do they say that so nicely? If you can't beat them, join them. You know.
Yeah.
Just get that going, and yes, that's a lot of work. I mean, I know by myself how hard it is to do all this social media stuff. It's ridiculous. I could review so much more albums if I didn't have to do all that, because that's definitely taking up most of my time, all the communication stuff. So yeah, that's definitely a thing to consider. But like, yeah, it really brings you benefit if you put the effort in that, and definitely by the band that's gonna come up in I think after this is out, it should be on the same day or the day after. I think that interview will be live. Keep an eye on our YouTube for that. But you can definitely see, because that band got to open on a major festival this year where I was, and they've done more, but that's the one I saw. That's how I know them. So yeah, I mean, they did that with building their online presence and have a shitload of subscribers, and then people cannot deny you, you know? you have stuff going on there. They need you. So yeah, I think that's interesting, and an interesting development. It's cool to see, and yeah, I was happy that these people were like interested to talk with me, even though we are still in the growing phase of our channel, I guess. So yeah.
So other news
brings me already.
So
yeah,
maybe it's a nice little bridge, because you said, you know, the older generation musicians, they're, you know, not so into the whole social media, and they're not, you know, it's funny to see that some of those older bands still rely on a lot of word of mouth and just being known. And I think we have some news.
It's not just the bands, it's like the industry, the label people, the bookers, you know?
Yes.
it's not per se the musicians, but like everything that goes behind the scene, what the majority of the people never gets to see. They need to be on board with all of that too.
As well, yeah. So, but maybe it's a nice little bridge to one of these news items.
Yeah. Which one you want to start with, then?
Well, I thought the first one.
Oh, I have Savatage on my first list to talk about.
I saw that one.
Yeah. But Savatage is just erased from their death, basically. And I'm loving it. And so happy that they're gonna be playing at one of my festivals. So lovely. I mean, it's one of those bands that you sort of grew up with in childhood. Like you listen to that with your friends. And then they're gone, and now they're coming back for a couple of shows and more, maybe.
Who knows?
But announced for Into the Grave Festival, people. Buy your tickets.
Let's go see them.
Because that might be a sold-out edition.
Who knows?
Yeah. Did you have anything with Savatage?
Well,
no.
They're from Hall of the Mountain King, right? Who doesn't know that one?
And Gutter Ballet, and When the Crowds Are Gone.
Yes, but I don't have a love for Savatage, but I like those songs, obviously.
Yeah,
So I'm curious to see them.
They're classics. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I'm curious if they're gonna do more new. I mean, I've seen some stuff talking about album.
Okay.
How about that they would record a lot at the same time, so then they can release 3 more albums or something like that. But
let's come back with 3 albums.
I don't know.
1, 2, and 3.
No, but like that they create it all at once and then they can just release it over the years.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if that's happening. We'll see. But I was like, yeah, I'm up for it. Do it while you're still alive.
Well, if they still have the same skills and songwriting skills and still sound.
I don't know. I think if you're in the way Savatage is composed, their music is always having this kind of musical kind of mindset of a rock opera or something. And I think if you compose like that, it's not just skills, but it's also a certain creativity that goes into it. And you either have that or you don't. So I don't think if you don't make something like that is gone, because it has a lot to do with your imagination. And that will just stay with you. That's who you are.
True.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're curious about that.
But I'm excited. Yeah. Definitely. All right. Yeah, my second item on the list, My Dying Bride.
Yes.
Oh. There was a little bit of drama earlier this year. I think they cancelled, what was it, 70,000 Tons of Metal or something? Was it that one maybe that they cancelled? And I remember reading all about it because one of my close friends is always going there and he was very upset because that was the band he was going for and whatever. And like, so I was reading a lot about it and then nobody really know what was going on. Aaron, the singer, was sort of saying they were going in a hiatus. Then there was also people stating that it was his mental state of being that caused them to cancel it. I don't know about that. It's a lot of rumors. So as long as it's not confirmed, I just don't know. But that was all what was going on. And now suddenly they were like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to do some tours again.
We're going
to do some shows. And yeah, their booker literally was in my email. Oh, they're available for this and this week, this summer. And I'm like, whoa.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Okay.
But then...
And then I read the message a bit further. And we see who are they bringing as a vocalist.
Interesting name.
it's Mikko from Swallow the Sun.
Yeah, interesting name.
And yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a way that I think
vocal-wise,
he's
definitely.
so capable of doing that. But I mean, My Dying Bride and Aaron, that was quite a thing, you know? His performances were like a dying swan.
On the stage, yes.
Yeah, like, I mean, I remember seeing them and photographing them in Paradiso in Amsterdam, like years ago already, but like, damn, like, it was literally the dying swan in front of me, that show. Yeah, so I mean, it was that it's really hard to mimic that, and I'm wondering, like, Mikko's style is being a lot more static.
Yeah. But also,
a lot less dramatic.
Well, I think he can deliver the dramatic side of his performance. But he's definitely not a dying swan.
No. I mean, that's what I mean. He has all the skills to do a good show, but like, it's gonna be so different.
Yeah. I'm very curious for this
hope
one
I get,
because
I hope he crosses my schedule this summer with My Dying Bride, because
there
I'm
are
curious.
a few spots left on a couple of festivals to show names, but I'm not quite sure this band is going to fill those gaps. But I'm actually I am very curious about how Mikko will do.
Yeah,
because you know,
I did see in the email
my
that
Dying Bride, I saw them as well a couple of times, and the Dying Swan definitely is a thing. But to me, it also, after seeing them a couple of times, the theatrical thing, it was a little, I don't know, it was maybe just a little bit too much of that, and a lot about the Dying Swan for me. But I'm quite curious how Mikko will. One, how it's gonna sound, and because I think I don't know, I like the vocals of Mikko. I like his clean parts. I like his growls. They can be really intense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious. I hope to see them.
Me too.
That's all I can say.
I know that in a near future some more dates will be announced. But that's about that. What we can talk about that. But we'll see. We'll see if they cross our schedule. I hope so. Okay. Yeah. Do we have time for that last item? Let me check. Oh yeah, we can definitely bring a little bit into that about Impaled Nazaren being cancelled for Eindhoven Metal Meeting. Yeah, cancel culture stroke again.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because this band certainly has its things, and they've been cancelled several times before at other places. Some of the band members have also been cancelled with other bands, I think, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, that's how cancel culture works, right?
Yeah.
If one band is the nephew of your neighbor is involved in that, you get cancelled too. But it surprised me that they actually went through with it. I understood that it was the venue who cancelled and not the festival.
No, not the festival. What I read too is that the festival actually would really like them, and I think they also played a couple of times before on the festival, Eindhoven Metal Meeting. Maybe I saw them even there in 2014 or something. But it's kind of funny because in the description of why they are cancelled, they say, yes, because we want to deliver a safe space for all types of people, for the LGBTO community to feel safe. And Impaled Nazarene is very homophobic, and therefore we have to create a safe space. And everybody should feel the opportunity to, you know...
To be there,
which I can kind of understand, but at the same time...
True. I don't know. It's
the
hard.
Whole metal, for me, the whole metal community is actually quite Well, just
I don't know.
you know, I'm making a switch to a completely different band in a different, but maybe to make the point. I mean, when you think about, of course, I can't think of the name right now.
Give me a
Cannibal
hint.
Corpse. They sing about murdering people, females. They're fist fucking, vagina, whatever. But if you're a woman in that audience, you know, if you fall down, there will be 6 people putting you up, back on your feet. I
Yeah.
mean, it's. Do you have to take everything so?
So literally, yeah.
Because
But on the other side, I can
Yeah,
share
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit of my experience though with them. I mean, Impaled Nizaran
They're not so nice.
has been close with someone in my near surroundings. That person is not in my surroundings so much anymore at the moment, but yeah, I would definitely be near that, and I always felt somewhat uncomfortable around them for some reason, but there's not any clear pointer to why that is, but it's kind of like, I don't know, yeah, how do you say, it's a feeling or something. So I don't know, it's really hard
Yeah.
to put something on them based on that, but you know, I can understand that there would be people feeling that uncomfortable, but then again, you know who's in the lineup.
Yeah, just grab
of
a
that
beer.
festival. Don't buy a ticket if you don't want to be there, or
Go-
make sure you're in the other hall,
Or drink a beer
like,
at the bar.
You don't have to watch that set.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
Eindhoven metal meeting, you can definitely move to the other hall and wait there for the next band, or buy merch,
Get
or
a beer,
do something. You know,
yeah.
yeah.
And the thing is,
Just show them an empty hall. That's the best thing you can do to show your point. You know. Because bookers are definitely noticing that when they book a band and half of the venue remains empty, you know? Yeah. So that's the best way you can make it known. I think, yeah, cancelling is... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that so much. I mean... Yeah.
And the thing is,
Best
you know,
thing is
if you
a
cancel
fan is
Impaled
just-
Nazarene, they will be playing, I don't know.
Elsewhere. Yeah.
I mean,
Steelfest keeps booking those kind of bands all the time, so they will always have a festival to play it. Well, I mean, for Steelfest, they got, what was it, the last time that they almost got cancelled? Like 4 bands that people had issues with. So, I mean, yeah, there's always places for these bands to play. So it's not like you stop their existence, and by canceling them, it will not cancel their mindsets about their ideology, even if they are having those as we think that they have.
yeah, and maybe I'm not the one to talk, of course, because I like men, so I'm not the I don't feel threatened when somebody on stage is making this
I understand.
thing, so I don't know how that
I
will come
understand.
across, of course, and how that makes you feel.
Yeah. I don't know.
But is
it's a hard one, but it's just surprises me that in a country like the Netherlands, this is so happening. You know, we're all about the freedom and the speech, whatever, but not if it's not completely convenient to someone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's
It's hard to say.
it leaves.
It's a pity that this
Yeah.
happened. Let's say it like that. All right, a little bit more about cancel culture in one of the upcoming interviews also, because I like to push people to watch the YouTube.
Of course.
Look at the interview of the 17th of December. There's a slight little bit about a very respectable person in the metal community to talk a little bit about that. Not like the whole interview, but like there's definitely some words on that. So
Interesting.
make a note for that, people. All right. That was the news, I think. Did I send anything else? I don't know. No. okay, Ikigai, what makes us happy? Well, I think we could obviously say that the results of the interview series so far are definitely what making me happy. I saw people liking some of these interviews that I'm like, okay, this is more views than we have ever had on a video. So
very nice.
Breaking records. We have a lot of new people subscribing to the YouTube. So welcome all you people when you're listening to your first podcast on YouTube.
Maybe we should do a new introduction next year.
Yeah, we could do that. But welcome all, and yeah. Also for your newbies, don't be afraid to comment. We love that.
We do.
And anything else making me happy? Oh yeah, I can say that I was already sneak peeking a bit to the concert schedule for next year, and I was like, okay, will be some days that I might have 4 days of gigs in a row, and then not being able to see everything I want to see even.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I've been booking already a couple of hotels for festivals.
Me too.
I might go, so I have that arranged. And yeah, that sort of stuff makes me happy and look forward to the new year because the gig season for me is kind of ending. I will be seeing one band next week, but I don't think that's worth talking about or in the podcast. I think
I'm still going to be quite busy.
Yeah, you will, but I mean, for me...
Yeah, you have interview
after
season.
After doing 25 interviews, there was like all these people asking me like, oh, hey, will you be reviewing the album too? Like also King Salem wrote me a message like, oh, hey, you're going to be like writing a review too. I'm like, yeah, well, after I'm done with all these interviews, I probably barely have any time left before it's Christmas.
Yeah, and then we have to record the best of the year. We have to record, we have things coming up. So to keep you all entertained.
Exactly, and... I kind of want to move the website to a different host and make a little bit of changes to the look. I kind of planned that to be early next year. So, that has to be done too. And yeah, I mean, like I was trying to make a bit of a rough guideline of how much time I spend on all these interviews. And it's hard because... like you have a couple of hours in preparation, you listen to the album, you do some research, you can prepare questions, then you record the interview. After the interview, you have to edit. You also have to edit the reel. You have to do the graphics. You have to post things up. You have to reply to people's comments. You have to notify bands that their video is online. You have to talk to promoters. Meanwhile, you're also trying to arrange new interviews for the series, and it's like chaos. So I think for maybe one interview, I could easily take up like 6 to 8 hours, I would say. That's very realistic on how much time you spend on it, and that's also because I have quite a concept with the questions, you know, like if you're not doing this in a concept, you're literally spending way more time on that.
Yeah, and you want to have an interesting conversation with the one you're interviewing and not 25 of the same interviews. So you know, you like
True.
That needs preparation. You can't just, you know.
Yeah, and it's nice because you have such different bands, and some things people agree on and some things people don't, and that's funny for me because I've seen all the other ones. I mean, I spoke with Heron. Heron did an album about his dad's going through Alzheimer disease. I think that conversation was so beautiful because at first we had some issues getting the interview done. The first day he was in the Zoom and then he crashed out of it and didn't return. I was like, what the fuck? So we had some trouble setting things up, and at first he seemed a bit annoyed and everything, and then we started talking, and you can totally see the switch,
nice.
You know, when he starts talking, and I got such a nice message from him afterwards. How happy he was with the interview and everything. So I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
Definitely.
Like, so nice.
Well, I love these little
then,
backgrounds from artists, how they, you know, in ways they get their creativity, or how they're inspired, where it comes from, or when it's very personal, like something like with a dad with Alzheimer, or you know, it's for me it's making the music a little bit more you know, layers of depth or something. It's interesting. And you just mentioning that there's an interview coming up about the cancer culture, there's an interview coming up about the, you know, social media and all that, how it works, the music industry. It's kind of interesting and makes me want to go listen to them. So I hope our viewers feel the same way and that they will check it out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like, I had this Heron interview. The guy makes progressive rock, basically. And he has this whole album about Alzheimer. Then, what was it? Literally the day after that, I was having Dark Embrace. That's a completely different genre. But they also had one song on their album that goes about Alzheimer. And you could totally hear the same kind of experience that sparked these songs. So I kind of connected it a little bit with them. Also, I said, oh, you know, I have this guy who did this, and so they're checking each other out and such. So I'm like, I mean, completely different genre, but the same
it's you know,
feeling goes into that song. And that's so amazing if you do this series.
Cool.
Really, that's it's really inspiring to hear all these people from different genres having the same way of looking at things, and then the beautiful things that come out of it. So
interesting.
All right, what makes you happy?
Yeah, well, I think my week or 2 weeks actually, they went past like flip. I don't know. Just gigs, fun, exciting things. I saw the upcoming shows in January and February, and I'm like, oh my god. And I also booked my a hotel or 2 hotels for festivals, or looking for a place to crash. So that is already starting, and it's kind of fun. And I run into when I was at a show in the Efner, I ran into someone that was TMing for Ordin Ogan, and I met him when he did Beast in Black last year, at the beginning of the year, and I was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be here, so you don't send me a message. But it's fun. But it's fun when you know, the whole music community, when you run into people, I don't know, it's such a small world. It's somehow it's a warm world. Sometimes it's also not. But I love it, you know, and these little things make it these little encounters make it fun. And even though they're really brief, it's fun.
It's lovely. I know.
Especially when you don't expect someone to be there, and then like, wait, what are you?
I think there's one thing that also made me a little bit happy, and probably you as well. And that we got a request for All About This.
I saw it. Or a new one.
Well, yeah. Ooh. Well, maybe at some point we can do something with that. So, audience, if you have your requests, drop them in the comments and we will look into it.
We will.
So, that was nice. I like it. There was something else I was thinking I need to tell to people. Now I completely forgot again.
Well, there's a lot on your mind, so.
Yeah. Well, I was just having it in my mind a couple minutes ago. I was like, I need to say that. Oh well. That's it. Almost Christmas. Uh-huh.
Yes,
The
I need to go
playlist then.
set up my Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, well mine is up since October.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Playlist. What do we have on the playlist? I mean, now that I have a couple of interviews out, people can see what I've been listening to on the YouTube, obviously. And obviously, when Savatage was announced, I couldn't help myself but going to listen to a little bit of Savatage for that. Then I've been listening to some 80s stuff yesterday. And I don't know, singing along maybe.
Which is good sometimes. Yeah.
Occasionally. It's a rare thing for me, but I was just thinking, whatever, I have my headphones on. I can just do this in my own office. Nobody will hear it. So, yeah, some 80s things. Savatage, obviously. Do I have new things to mention that I've been listening to? No, not yet, because that would spoil too much for whatever is coming up. But yeah. Oh yeah, now I remember what I want to tell people again. People need to let me know whether I should go to Inferno or not, because I cannot make up my mind about it. Is Dynamo interesting for you? Dynamo. Is Inferno for you, some people, listeners, interesting to read about? Then let me know. And if you say, like, just go to another festival, do something new, also let me know. So then I know what to do. It's quite an investment to fly to Norway and attend all that. So let me know.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
And
you know, I went to a Eldorado festival and people told me to go see Tankzilla, which I did. And I took photos and we reviewed them in the podcast. So I'm actually curious if people checked it out and listened to it and thought I did a good job, because I listened to you, the audience. So yeah.
Drop your comments, people. We need them.
Yes.
We need them. All right.
So,
and your playlist?
I think the usual stuff. Nothing. The usual stuff. Yeah. I think I listened to
Graveyard.
Yes. Amorphis. I listened to Octoploids. I listened to In Flames. I listened to, and I think it's maybe a little bit of my guilty pleasure at the moment. Nestor and the Night Flight Orchestra.
Ah, yeah, nice.
I like to, going a little bit. But also Swallow the Sun and Insomnium, hopping. And then I like to put up a little bit of Nestor vibes and little 80s flavored happiness.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm curious for next episodes.
Yes.
For your top 5 albums, top 5 shows, and everything.
Yeah.
So.
I have to do a little bit of thinking.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I know the ones who are very high up in the list, but which order or which one will end up a bit higher, I don't know yet.
Yeah, and I thought about it before, and I was like, when was this gig? Oh no, it was November last year, so it's not gonna be in this year. And then this band, that was in February. Okay, so it can fit. Yeah.
Well,
and I still have a few shows to see, so.
Yeah, that's true. I can say one thing: this year it won't be Morlocks because there's no new Morlocks album. There will be an EP in January, so for the next year there will also might also be an album coming, but at least an EP. But for this year, no more
Yeah.
looks.
Okay.
Well, I think we're at the end of our episode
Yes.
then. Yeah, so stay tuned for our top fives.
Yeah, but my
or
end
top
is
lists.
not going to be completely done when we do the top 5, so I don't know how that... But that might be just one.
Yeah, but that's something we can still like rectify in the next episode if we need to.
Yeah, who knows? Okay,
That's
well,
true.
people,
All right.
thank you very much for listening to us again. Hopefully you will leave some comments for us.
Yes,
And
we
then
love
we
them.
will-
And we love your requests.
Yes, we're going to work on that one. And then we see you next podcast.
Yeah, next podcast, the end of the year list. We might post it a day earlier or later, depending on how things go, because it's really close to
Yes.
Christmas. And when it's Christmas, you're all gonna be with your family and not listen to our podcasts. So,
You think?
yeah, we might change things up a little bit, but you guys are already subscribed for a year now, so you guys will get the message when something new
Yes.
comes out, right?
Of course.
All right, then. I think it's time to say goodbye. Bye!
Bye.